This is an absolutely brutal full body workout using free weight movements. Every exercise in this routine has an important place and every set matters. These are the exercises we're going to perform in this order. This specific sequence has two purposes. The first is ergonomic. It starts with the toughest exercise and then moves along, minimizing the amount of times you have to pick up plates and move the bar around. The second is performance-oriented. There is maximal rest between the two lower body movements, the two pressing movements and the two pulling movements. This allows for the best possible performance in each lift and thus a better training effect. Though this is a simplification, the high bar squat essentially hits the anterior side of your lower body and the Romanian deadlift hits the posterior side of your lower body, while the presses hit the anterior side of your upper body and the pulls hit the posterior side of your upper body. We'll do each exercise for 3 sets of 5 to 10 reps. Why exactly 3 sets? Well, it takes a while to find the groove with free weights, and after spending the time putting the plates on the bar and warming up, you might as well make use of the situation. Every additional set you do gives you less relative benefit compared to the previous one, and I find 3 sets to be a good middle ground. As for the reps, 5 to 10 is a good range where the weights are relatively heavy while still allowing you to accumulate enough volume to grow your muscles. Where you land on that rep range does not really matter. Don't fall into the trap of thinking whether 5 or 8 or 10 reps is better. If you get more than 10 reps, just increase the weight, and if you get less than 5, take some weight off. As for your effort level on every set, keep going for as long as you are certain that the next rep will be successful. Once you're not sure whether the next rep will come back up, the set is over. This essentially means leaving 1 or 2 reps in the tank every set. Be honest with yourself on this one. Lastly, your rest period should be about 2 to 5 minutes long. This is a strength and size workout, so you don't want your lungs to be the limiting factor. Now let's go through the workout in detail. We will start with the high bar squat. The reason we're not doing the low bar squat and the regular deadlift in this session is that those two exercises have a lot of overlap and would be unnecessarily tough on your lower back and posterior chain in general. High bar squat and Romanian deadlift is a great combination because the high bar squat is a more knee-dominant squat variation, focusing more on your quads, while the Romanian deadlift is a very hip-dominant deadlift variation with very little knee bend, thus focusing almost solely on your posterior chain. Go as deep as you can on these squats. Weightlifting shoes or putting small plates under your heels is highly recommended to make reaching depth much easier. The high bar squat hits your quads like a truck, but very much uses the glutes, abs and lower back as well. Having done your squats, the bar is on the rack at the perfect height to start overhead pressing, so take the plates off and start warming up for that. I'm a much bigger fan of doing the overhead press first and bench press later than vice versa if doing them both in the same workout. Your shoulders tend to feel better on bench after overhead pressing, but it really doesn't seem to work the other way around. Either pause at the bottom or at the top, depending on where you want to take your breath, but don't help at all with your legs. This is primarily an upper body movement, and our legs get plenty of better work with the lower body exercises. I pause and take my breath at the bottom simply because I get more reps that way compared to pausing at the top. This exercise mainly uses your anterior and lateral delts, upper chest and triceps, but also targets the serratus anterior, upper traps and abs. After your last set, you can simply drop the bar down on the floor and start warming up for the barbell row. This, in my opinion, is the toughest upper body exercise in existence, if you can even call it just upper body. Here comes a long-ass list on what muscles this exercise hits. Lats, traps, rhomboids, rear delts, biceps, forearms, and additionally your spinal erectors, abs, glutes, and hamstrings due to the position you have to maintain throughout every set. You can do these either from the floor or from a hang position. If you do them from the floor, control the weight on the way down instead of just dropping it after each rep. If you decide to do this from a hang position, do them as horizontally as you can. If your grip limits you on these, use straps. This is a back exercise, not a grip exercise, though the latter can be a nice bonus. Now, it is very easy to cheat on this exercise. Ego lifting is stupid and we're not going to do that, but I'm not going to tell you to be obsessively strict with your form on barbell rows either, because it is very difficult to feel the difference between perfect form and some body English. Just try to lift the weight with your upper back and not your hips, and try to be consistent with your technique from workout to workout for more accurate measuring of progress. Now that barbell rows are done, we're half warmed up for Romanian deadlifts. The great thing about Romanian deadlifts is that they autocorrect differences in anthropometry. There's no arbitrary height at which you pick up the weights, and long arms don't really help you here. You simply go as deep as your hamstrings will allow without your lower back rounding. For most people, this happens somewhere between slightly below their knees and mid-shin. Now you really need straps or a mixed grip for this exercise. I like to use straps on Romanian deadlifts but leave them out on the regular deadlift because grip is important to improve as well. I just don't think this is the right exercise for that. The Romanian deadlift annihilates your hamstrings while also hitting your glutes, spinal erectors, abs, traps and lats hard. Congratulations! We can finally leave the rack and move on to the bench. Now, even though we haven't worked the chest in this workout yet, you will have some systemic fatigue from all the previous exercises and probably won't be making any personal records on the bench. But that is fine. The training effect will still be virtually the same. However, if you really care about the bench or any other specific exercise, you can start the workout with that instead. I personally find that upper body movements generally suffer less from doing lower body first than lower body movements suffer from doing upper body first. This might be because lower body movements are more affected by systemic fatigue as well as upper back fatigue, especially in the case of the deadlift. The bench is mainly a chest, tricep and anterior delt builder. No other lift can load those muscles to the same extent. Still, maintaining a tight and rigid setup involves hard contraction from your quads, lower back and lats as well. Assuming you didn't get pinned by the bar and die on the bench by going for PRs without safety pins or a partner, we will now move on to our final exercise of the workout, which is pull-ups. At this stage of the workout, your grip might be getting tired, but with a good pull-up bar or handles, it shouldn't be a problem. If there is one exercise in this routine that is easier than the rest, it's this one. No lower back stress and no lower body involvement, and additionally hanging can actually feel quite good after all the pummeling your spine has taken from the barbell leading up to this exercise. Still, this is very useful for your lats, biceps and forearms, as well as for maintaining good shoulder mobility, so take these just as seriously as you do the prior exercises. Do this weighted if you can do more than 10 with body weight, and with band assistance if you can do less than 5. Great work! You've finished the workout. If you're not very strong yet, but are in a good cardiovascular shape, you might finish this in an hour. And if you're very strong and in a bad cardiovascular shape, this might take you 2.5 hours. I myself finished this in exactly 2 hours, being moderately strong and not in a great cardiovascular shape at the moment. My excuse is that it's currently the dead of winter and I always get extremely lazy at this time of the year and don't want to go outside or anywhere really. This is about the most work you should do in a single workout. It's 6 difficult compound exercises with 18 sets total, all of them being challenging. Rather than extend the same session further, it's much smarter to go home, rest and come back the next day if you feel like you can do more. This is a great workout for those who can only train once or twice per week or who want to make the most out of their trip to the gym, but doing this more than twice per week is probably an overkill. If you want to do this workout 3 times per week, you can just use different variations on the other 2 workouts. When you really look at this workout, it consists of 6 exercise slots. There's a squat movement, a deadlift movement, a vertical and horizontal press, and a vertical and horizontal pull. You can get some ideas for the variations in this video here, where I explain why these 6 movement patterns are as good as they are. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.